Hi all, Leanne here from AvoidingBroke. I hope you're all well and thank you so much for joining me for this, our latest video on our YouTube channel. So today what I want to cover is how you can answer some of those tough interview questions that you may get. So I'm going to cover two questions today because they're linked. So they are, what is your greatest strength? And then the follow-on question that usually happens, which is what is your greatest weakness? And I think the strengths question may be not so difficult to answer. I think the weakness question is one that kind of trips up a few people if you're not prepared. So that's why I want to do this video today, to help you prepare for these questions so that you will be able to give a great answer when you get them in an interview. So let's get stuck in. So we're going to start with the first one, which is what is your greatest strength? So let's just put that on here. Many of us can think of many different kind of strengths that we have, but my number one tip here when we are thinking about strengths, and in particular this question when you're being asked what is your greatest strength, is actually to go through any past feedback that you've had to pick out your strengths. Think about the different roles that you've had and the type of jobs that you've done, and think about your strengths there, because ultimately you want to be able to give an example if you're asked for one that demonstrates why this is one of your strengths. So those would be my kind of key things to do to help you prepare for this question, which is to actually really think about all of your strengths and go through some of the information that you may have, say from past feedback or projects that you've done, or if you haven't had employment before this and you're going for your first job, then maybe think about some other things that you've been involved in, such as sports teams, university committees, school committees, any of those kind of activities that you may have done where you can show some of the core strengths. And so my second part on this would be actually go through the job spec and pick out the core skills that are being asked from your job. So the first one we've spoken about, is to identify your strengths. The second point we've spoken about is to then identify the key strengths that are listed in the job spec. And so what you want to do there is to pick one of your strengths, because like I said, we probably all have many, but you want to pick one that is really key skill for the job that you're going for, so you can show how one of your greatest strengths is actually key for the job that you're going for. So let's consider an example here. So if you are going for a job which involves a lot of, say, project management or something like that, you may want to have on your key strength that you're talking about here to be something around either working under pressure or being organised. So those are two key skills that you'd be able to demonstrate that are going to be key for a job that has project management. So here you can talk about that. You can say, my greatest strength is that I keep calm. So when I'm faced with these pressurised situations, I can keep a cool head, stay focused, and really deliver in this stressful environment. But you can also talk about other strengths. You can kind of bring them in round the back door to kind of help you show how you can execute your greatest strength. So you can say things like that you perform well under pressure. That's one of your key strengths, and what can help you with that is communicating clearly, being well organised, having the ability to really focus and prioritise. So you can see you're demonstrating that you've got many strengths, but actually how they help you execute on the key strength that you have identified and that you're going to talk about here. And I would say that if you are asked to give an example of when you've used your key strengths, or just to demonstrate your kind of key strength in action, then make sure you use the STAR framework. I quite like the STAR L framework, so I add the L onto the end. And we have a video on that you can check out on our YouTube channel, and I will put a link to that video in the description below. So that is a whole video taking you through competency-based interviews, which are interviews that ask you to give examples and display key skills through the use of examples and how you can shine in those. So do check it out. So there are two key points. Identify all of your strengths and then pick one that is job specific. Don't look at it in isolation. Make sure it's a job specific strength so you can clearly show the interviewer that your key strength is something they are looking for in the role. Okay, so let's now turn on to the second half of the question, which is what is your greatest weakness? Okay, so what is your greatest weakness? I must admit, I actually think this is quite a tough question, but I would say there are definitely some things that you can do in advance to prepare to help yourself give a great answer to this question. And I would say lots of people, when they get these kind of questions, are quite tempted to try and turn a perceived weakness into a strength or something like that. And there are lots of cliches out there that you have people saying, I just work too hard, I don't know when to stop, I'm kind of that's my greatest weakness. And the interview is going to hurt those things so many times. So I would say, think of something original and be honest. And I would say, while being honest, obviously make sure that you're not going to be talking about something that can kind of scupper your chances of getting the job. So don't highlight a huge weakness that is one of the core skills of the job. And I would say also, we all have weaknesses, and it's okay. By identifying a weakness and talking about it in this question, you're not kind of setting yourself aside from lots of other people and thinking, I have this weakness but nobody else does. No, everybody has weaknesses. But what I would say is, when you're thinking about what your weaknesses are in terms of a response to this question, try and think about the industry that you are applying for a job in and thinking, is there something that's kind of quite common across that causes difficulties for lots of people? So you're showing that, okay, yep, you have these weaknesses, but actually it's not out of the ordinary. It's something that's kind of inherent in the industry, as it were. And you could probably see there are lots of businesses where there's kind of lots of regulatory change or technological change that you have to keep up with. And that could be something then that you could mention here, which is that your weakness is trying to keep on top of all of the different regulatory changes or the technology changes that come about. And that's going to be something that's common across the industry, so not just specific on you. So that's one way of looking at this question. So the other way that you could answer this question is, especially if you're going for a job where there's going to be lots of competing deliverables and working in quite a high pressured environment, maybe on several different projects at once, you could talk about your ability to kind of keep up to date with everything that's going on across multiple work streams or multiple projects. And what I would say here is the key is, whatever weakness you identify within your answer, make sure you can also follow that up with how you are addressing that weakness and how you are trying to develop your skills so that it will no longer be a weakness for you, it's something that you're actively working on. So you could say something along the lines of, so I think my greatest weakness is trying to keep up to date with the rapid technological change that's happening in the industry at the minute. However, to try and mitigate against this weakness, I'm currently taking this seminar, I'm enrolled on this course, I do this reading, I listen to these seminars, I have a mentor that can help me, I read trade press. So there are lots of things that you can do to say, yes, I have this weakness, but actually I'm doing something about it. And I think that is the key part of this question, is to show that you are actually self-aware of the things that you need to work on and to demonstrate that you are actually working on them. You're doing something about it. You're not just accepting it and thinking, oh, it's okay, it's fine, I'm good at all of these other things, so I'll just let this bit slip. No, you're actively doing something about it. And I think that shows two skills that employers really look for, which is being self-aware and open to feedback, and also your self-development and your learning and your commitment to developing and growing within the role. And that is exactly what you can talk about in this question, is your commitment to that and how you hope to, as part of getting the job that you are applying for, that you hope to develop that skill even further. So I think there you can actually turn that question around into what can be considered quite negative, talking about weaknesses, and you can turn it into something that's quite positive and show those positive characteristics about yourself. But again, guys, the important thing here is to be honest, and please don't go for one of those cliches that we mentioned in the beginning. So I do hope that you found that useful. So we've gone through the two questions here. So what is your greatest strength? And then what is your greatest weakness? And I really, really hope this helps you on your recruitment journey. And I honestly wish you the best of luck on that journey that you're going on now. And do check out our YouTube channel for more videos. We have, you can check out our playlist. We have a careers advice playlist on our YouTube channel. So have a look in there and see if there are any other videos that you think would be useful. Also, if there's anything else that you'd like us to cover, do just drop a comment below and we will do our best to produce a video on that content for you. And guys, if you do like our content, please hit the subscribe button, hit the bell button so you know when we release another video. And you can check us out across the social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok, and we're at AvoidingBroke at all of those places, so do come and find us. And guys, until our next video, you take care, and again, I wish you the best of luck.